AEW is making a huge mistake with Toni Storm, and I don't like it one bit, and I don't think you guys do either.
Now look, Toni Storm, she is arguably AEW's biggest star. Certainly the biggest star in its female division for women's world champion. And I was surprised, just like everyone else was, that at All Out, she lost the women's world championship to Kris Statlander in a fatal four-way match. In fact, she was pinned in that match. This caught me off guard. It caught me by surprise, and I think a lot of people did as well. But clearly, AEW is trying to establish Kris Statlander once again as a top-tier star, right? She was a babyface, and she turned heel, kind of off the face of the earth, and is back in the main event scene. I have no problem with AEW taking the title off of Toni Storm. You have to create new stars in order to further grow the division, grow your brand, and Toni Storm needs people to work with, right? And Toni Storm had held the championship for the majority of 2025 after winning it back from Mariah May. Now, I do have an issue with what they've done since then. And that brings me to the point of today's video. AEW is going into Wrestle Dream this Saturday, October 18th. And they bought a rematch. It's Toni Storm versus Kris Statlander for the Women's World Championship. Is that a good match on paper? Yes. Is it a big match on paper? Yes. However, the way that they've gone about things, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't agree with their decision to make this match so quickly after Toni Storm lost the Women's World Championship to Kris Statlander. I understand you are trying to capitalize on the momentum that Toni Storm has. I understand you're trying to use her as a pick to elevate Kris Statlander into a main event star. You have to. You have to beat main event talent in order to create new main event talent. I get all that. You have a problem with that. But you have a problem with the idea of, hey, instead of let's do something by building up a challenger for Kris Statlander, we're just going to run it back with titleless Toni Storm because she's over. No, that's not the way that this works. Because you do two problems with that. Number one, there is no one on the face of this earth that thinks that Kris Statlander is going to lose the championship in her first title defense on pay-per-view. It's just not going to happen. I don't care if it's Mercedes Moné, if it's timeless Toni Storm. I don't care who. It could be a nobody. The champion's not losing that match. You have that issue every single time you do a title change. You don't deal with it, it goes with the territory. Then you double down and you make another mistake by making timeless Toni Storm. She's going to eat the loss here. Okay? AEW usually does not do weird finishes. They'll do count-out finishes or DQ finishes or whatever. She's losing. Okay? So by doing so, you are, instead of delaying, waiting, holding off on doing a rematch down the line in 3 months, 6 months, a year's time, whatever, Tony Khan is saying, hey, we have this event. We don't have anyone ready. Even if we did, they're not going to win. They're not going to beat Kris. So let's just put Toni Storm in there and let's try to get a little bit more equity out of her and onto Kris Statlander. That's what this is. And I gotta say, I don't like it. I don't like it for Kris. Yes, beating Toni Storm is a big deal. Beating her again, I don't know how much more you get out of it. I don't know if it's worth the sweets. You're also taking a chance of telling your fan base, hey, Toni Storm is the thing of the past. We understand that she's our hottest star, especially in the female division, our biggest star. But we're going with Kris Statlander now. That's what that tells me. We don't have anything else for Toni. We have nothing for Kris, so we're just going to run it back. It comes across all negatives. Instead of, hey, can you guys believe Kris Statlander came out here and beat Toni Storm? Hey, can you guys now know that we are moving forward Kris Statlander. We still love Toni Storm. She's still a huge key part of our programming, our product. We're still going to use her in a big way. She's a big-time star. We respect that. But we're going to move forward with Kris when we're also going to do some good pun stuff with Toby. It's a win-win, everyone. And we're going to put someone in the ring with Kris Statlander October 18th for the Women's World Championship at Wrestle Dream. And we're going to put her in a match in which she's going to go out there and have one of the best matches on the card. That's what they're not doing. Positive. Toni Storm moves on to something new, fresh, different. Gets to work with someone. Being a younger star. Hey, Kris Statlander, she's our new champion. Hey, she's working with someone. Hey, she's going to have a great match. Win, 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 win. Maybe we can showcase a younger talent that has not been exposed to these types of opportunities. The fans already know Kris ain't going to lose, so at least let's give him some shine. Right? You're just missing out on opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. So I don't like that. I think it's a mistake. But you know what? Tony Khan, AEW, they're going to do what they want to do. I can't change your mind. You can't change your mind. Tony is the bupper. And I think it's a bad decision, but hey, that's what we're going with. Now, the rest of this card is very good. I love the main event of Hangman Page, Samoa Joe. I love the fact that they're getting Joe back in the world title picture, especially with Hangman Page. Wrestle Dream has never been one of my favorite events. I understand why Tony Khan does it. I actually think it's an unnecessary pay-per-view event. I understand they're a business. They're trying to make revenue. They're trying to make money, so that's why he does it. I'm a content creator. I'm going to cover it. I make money off of that. But if you just look at it from a value standpoint, there's not much. What is the number one thing that you think of in Wrestle Dream history? Bryan Danielson's last match, I believe, and Out of Oakland's debut. That's it. But it's just an event on the card that's going to go 7.5 hours. Okay, I kid. It's going to go 6 hours, right? 4 hour a main card, hour and a half pre-show. If we're lucky, they'll keep it to an hour. But hey, we'll see what they got in store for us. AEW, say what you want about their pay-per-view events. Say what you want to say about their TV events, with their products or the booking or who's there or who's on top or who's champion. When you do shell out your money, whether it's $50 or $30 or whatever the case may be, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, that AEW is going to give you the best pay-per-view products on the freaking planet in the wrestling sphere. And I have no doubt that Wrestle Dream is going to have some incredible matches. The card on paper, like I said, it looks good. Tony's done well in that regard. He set up some very interesting... Look at Hangman Page. No one expects him to lose his championship. So let's put him in there with Samoa Joe. As a fan favorite, as a veteran, who no one believes he's actually going to win the title. But it's going to be a heck of a match, and it's been a very fun feud. Right? Like, it's not over complicated in my opinion.